Hey everyone, Con here. A really important video today, and that is my top rules when buying singles. If you're somebody who wants to purchase Pokemon cards, you want to get into the hobby, but you don't know where to start, this is a really good video to watch just so that you can upskill yourself on what you can do to maximize the amount of money that you want to spend on the hobby so you can get the most for your money. But first, I'd like to give you a nice reminder. Please, if you're liking the content, please interact with me, comment, like, follow, subscribe. It all makes a difference. It makes me know that you guys are watching. It makes me know that you guys would like me to do more of these videos. And it also helps me feel as if I'm part of this community and that, we're all kind of working together. I don't know everything. This is just what I've experienced in my time. So, yeah, please, if you've got your own suggestions as to what your rules are when buying singles, drop them in the comments section below. I would really appreciate that. So first, let's look at why it's important to buy right. First and foremost, you get to maximize what you can do with the amount of money you want to invest. Let's say, for example, you get paid every fortnight and you want to invest $50 of your money into this hobby. If you know what to buy, when to buy, how to buy, you'll get the most for your $50. There's nothing worse than spending $50 on something and then 5 months from now, it's only worth $10. That's something that I really want to help you avoid within this video. Hopefully, I can help you achieve that. Another reason as well, cost of living has gone crazy. People are struggling to pay their mortgages. People are struggling in the rental market. People are struggling to fill their fridge up with groceries, struggling to put fuel in their car. You really want to make sure that if you do allocate some of your money onto this hobby, you want to make sure that you spend it to its maximum potential. And that's all that this is about. This video is just all about making sure that if you've got a certain amount that you want to budget, I'm not telling you what to budget. I'm not telling you how much to budget. I'll leave that up to you. I just want to see you get the most for your money, like the most value for your money. And value is hopefully what you get to see in this video from this point on. All right, so firstly, it's all about timing your purchase. What I mean by timing your purchase is Pokemon release 8 to 10 sets every year. Sometimes more, sometimes a little less, but those sets often have what we call chase cards. Now, what's a chase card? A chase card is the best card in the set. It might have the best artwork, it might be the best playability, might be the most appealing Pokemon. But the chase card is the one card that most people are trying to open packs up to get. The Moonbreon from Evolving Skies is a chase card. The Giratina from Lost Origin is the chase card from that set. The Lugia V from Silver Tempest, full alt art, is the chase card from that set. From recent generation, Scarlet and Violet, you've got the Greninja EX from Twilight Masquerade, that's the chase card. Or the Magikarp from Paldea Evolved, the art rare, that's the chase card. The hit rate of these chase cards are very, very hard to actually achieve. So, for example, if I purchase 1,000 packets of the most recent set that has the best chase card of today, which is the Greninja EX, if I buy 1,000 packs of a Twilight Masquerade, I might be lucky to get one Greninja EX. If I get two, people would say I've hit the jackpot. Three, four, five, increasingly unlikely. So you want to make sure that you're timing your purchase right. And what do I mean by that? Let me give you an example. From the early Sword and Shield era, in fact, during the hottest period that we had, the COVID period, this Pikachu VMAX was the most appealing card for everybody. There were YouTubers who were making videos of trying to catch this chase, this elusive Pikachu VMAX. And honestly, if you are somebody who's trying to purchase Pokemon cards, this is an appealing card. It ticks a lot of boxes. Number one, it's a Pikachu. And Pikachu is the mascot of the franchise. So you can never go wrong when buying a Pikachu. You can never go wrong when you're looking towards investing or you're looking into spending a lot of money on this card. So a lot of people went for it. Number two, it's a secret rare. It's a secret rare. It's a very hard card to pull. It's not just a common Pikachu, and it's not just a Pikachu V. It is a rainbow rare, and rainbow rares are very hard to pull. Their pull rates are as hard as anything else, whether it's a gold card or whether it's a full art, alt art. These rainbows, they're very hard to attain. They're very hard to get out of a packet. So it's got a Pikachu, and it's also got a secret rare, status as well within it. So there's a few reasons why this card was really appealing. Now, if you have a look at the beginning of this card's release, the sales are out of this world. They're completely crazy. You've got sales here that go into the four digits. I can't comprehend how expensive this card was to begin with. This max sale right here at the top is on the 24th of December 2020. And that's literally the day before Christmas. This card in a PSA 10 sold for 2,499 American dollars. I just want you to wrap your head around that. 2,500 US dollars. That is how much this card sold for. And if you watch, it held ground for quite a while, but it was never going to reach that peak. And we've gotten to that point now where we've got data for a couple of years to suggest that this card has stabilized. It's always going to be a very expensive card. It's always going to be worth money. But if you purchase this card for 2,500 American dollars, it is selling now for 250, 300 Australian dollars. Uh, Essentially, you've lost 90% of your value. That's not a good buy. That is a disaster. Imagine if you were that one person who was saving $50 a week for a whole year. You saved up $2,500 and you wanted to purchase a good card. And then you went and purchased this. And within 3 years, it has lost 90% of its value. It's a disaster buy. So please avoid these kinds of purchases. Another example is from the same era, and it's the Darkness Ablaze Charizard card. Charizard VMAX. 20 from 189. This isn't even a secret rare. This isn't even a rainbow rare. This is just your full art card. And you have them for every type in a full set. So you've got your grass, you got your water, you got your fire, you got Charizard, you might have a Butterfree. These cards were commons, but because it was the Charizard VMAX, and Darkness Ablaze was renowned for not being a very strong set at all, a weak set that came out at a very important time in Pokemon history, in the midst of the chaos of COVID, this card, clearly as you can see, it had been impacted significantly by the timing. So the timing of purchasing this card, it was a hot market. It was COVID. You just need to know, like I need to know, and I made some of these mistakes too. These cards don't go away. If you want this card, you will probably be able to buy it in 10 years from now. It's uncertain how much you'll be able to get it for, but if you buy it right after its release, I guarantee you're probably paying full price for it and more. So timing your purchase ultimately is what the first rule is if you are looking at how you can maximize the money you're spending on this card game. If you're maximizing the money that you're spending on this hobby and making sure you get the best value out of it. Buying a chase card or buying a hot card when it's hot on the market, when it's just released and everyone's talking about it, that is basically you are guaranteed going to lose money. You've got to wait months. Have an eye on that card. You like it? Great. Have your eye on it. Wait months and it will come down. And when it comes down, you then can buy it. And you will at least not pay absolute premium for it. You'll be able to get it for a really good price. I guarantee you, 95% of the cards that are released, majority of them go down. There are some exceptions. The Umbreon alternate art, that went up. Originally, I think people thought the Rayquaza would be the ultimate chase card of that set. Ended up being the Umbreon. That did go up. I'm pretty certain as well. I think the Greninja EX went up as well. I think that one started lower than what we thought, and it went up. I think the Magikarp went up. There are a couple that have gone up, but 95% of these chase cards they go down, and they go down bad. This Pikachu and this Charizard VMAX, these two went down badly. I also question a couple of these later sales. They look really out of character compared to the remainder of the sales. So I'd want to know whether those transactions were fulfilled or not. because part of me does feel a bit skeptical that everyone is paying a certain amount for this card, a very low amount for 100 US dollars, and there's this one person who's paying triple it. So I'd be also skeptical about a couple of those sales, wondering, they're very much they're outliers when you're looking at this graph. And here you have it. What these cards are selling for right now. This is Australian dollars. So we have the Pikachu VMAX. And look, $400 for a Pokemon card in Australian money, you're looking around 600, 650. That is an expensive Pokemon card. That is a card worth a lot of money. But you would rather pay that $650 now than pay that $2,500 a few years ago. So just keep an eye on your timing of your purchase. Make sure you're buying things at the right time. You have to, because I don't want you to lose money. I don't want you to save $50 a week for 10 weeks, have $500 aside, and purchase something that in a couple of years will not even be worth your $500, will be worth $100. You've lost money on that. At the very least, I'd like you to retain the amount of money that you've invested in something. Think of it this way. If you bought something today and you needed to sell it in 6 months because, life gets hard and you need to, and it has to go, will you be able to get close to what you've paid for it back? That is the way I view things when I purchase things in my life. If I'm buying collectibles, I need to know that, hey, if I did need to let this go, I'd be able to get a significant amount of my money back. The Pikachu now, I would buy it now. I would buy that Pikachu now. And I would buy that Charizard now. These cards now, right now, these are two examples of two cards you could totally purchase right now. I don't see them falling any further than this. I think they're at absolute rock bottom. I think the market has calibrated. And if you wanted to buy that Pikachu VMAX from, if you wanted to buy that Pikachu VMAX from Vivid Voltage, this is the time to buy it. This is the time where I look at that card and I go, yep, I could get this card right now. All right. So that was number one. Number two, buy what you want to have in your collection. This is a really simple one. Buy what you want to have in your collection. A lot of people, ever since COVID and ever since all this data has just gone out of whack, like what I just showed you before, a lot of people now look at Pokemon like it is an investment. And I really want to stray kids away from that. And I want to try to change the attitude from it being looked at as an investment and to be looked at as the hobby that it really is. These are collectibles. If they're not making you happy, then why are you purchasing them? If you are purchasing cards and you're doing it because you're relying on them to gain value, you're in the wrong era. You're in the wrong, how can I put this? You're in the wrong world. Can I put it that way? The card market is volatile. I've been in it for 25 years. Long term, from the beginning to now, there's been growth and there's been great growth. So if you've held on to a really good card and you've looked after it for 20 years, that card has certainly grown. But in that 20-year period, it has been a roller coaster, ups and downs, lefts and rights. And when do you sell? When do you hold? You buy them because you like them, because they're good and they make you feel happy, because they're collectibles. It's shiny pieces of cardboard that's pretty. And the little characters on there, they remind you of your childhood and simpler times. That's what it is for me. I buy them because they make me happy. I'm in my man cave. I'm in my room. I've had a hard day. Life's hard. Battles, just like all of you, I'm sure. I look at my little demonic creatures doing their stupid little things. It reminds me of when I was 8 or 9, and it just makes me happy, and that's it. It's just my calming space. It's the way I make myself happy. They are good to me. And if, I need to sell them one day, I'm glad I'll be able to sell them. I'll be able to sell them. And what I have in my collection, I'll be able to get what I think is a fair price for them. I'm very certain of that. But I don't get into the hobby so I can make money. I don't get into the hobby so that I can count the dollars that I am making. And I certainly don't get into the hobby because I look at it as an investment. Collectibles are investments. It's true. It has happened, but they're volatile investments. They're not steady investments. You need to hold long term and you need to be ready for a couple of real nosedives within that time. So buy what you like, make sure you love it, make sure it means something to you, and have it in your collection, not because you're counting how much money it might be worth or how much money it is worth. Buy it because you like it. That's it. It's as simple as that. All right, number 3, it's avoid the hype. My example is going to be the Van Gogh Pikachu. Um, I'm sure all of you know the chaos that surrounded the launch of this card. I've got an image, I've put some smiley faces on. Let's have a look at it. I might be one of many that would say this was probably one of the most embarrassing chapters in the history of this hobby. Um, and I do question how many of these people are fans of Pokemon and how many are people who, just want to spend money, make money, spend money, flex about money, and just be a part of like a community that's toxic. The Pokemon community that I grew up with, you share you share in the joy of opening cards. You swap cards to make full sets. You trade, you sell, and it's just fun. This isn't fun. This is a horror movie. This is Terrifier 3. This is a disaster. This is not what I want to see in my hobby, one that I've been invested in for 25 years. I don't like to see this. I don't know how many of these people are genuinely fans. I wouldn't be doing this. But they did, and it happened, and hopefully it dies down. But what these people did basically was they looked at the Munch Pikachu. So the Munch Pikachu is the Japanese Pikachu that was released that was based off of the Scream portrait, right? The one where the face is held, and that card um, at the time it wasn't that expensive, and it blew up, and it became worth thousands of dollars. But when people were purchasing that card, they were doing it because they just loved the card. They loved the artwork. They loved the theme, the crossover between art and between Pokemon. They just loved it. This here was almost like the successor to the Munch Pikachu. This is the Van Gogh Pikachu, and the Van Gogh Pikachu takes homage to Vincent van Gogh, and the Pokemon artworks are all based on the Vincent van Gogh artworks. So people had this obsession with, hey, let's chase after the glory of them. That Pikachu's completely out of reach. It's worth way too much money. This is the next hot thing. But you see, that's not what happens. That is not what happens in this hobby. In this hobby, that's not what happens. Generally, when everybody buys something and there's a lot of it available, the supply is too high, the demand's low. And this Pikachu, the spike, that spike there up the top, that is everyone punching on for the card. And then this is everyone coming to their senses. And the card has corrected itself. And again, I'd be looking at this card to purchase it right now. I think right now you can see there's a real steady amount that it's worth. Pretty good time to buy it. It would be. Just because you like it. Just because you think it's great and you love the crossover with Van Gogh. Not because you're looking to make money. There are so many of these that have been made now. There are so many that have been released. The amount that you're going to buy for now, it will steadily increase, but it's not going to blow up like the Munch Pikachu. There's way too many of these that have been printed. There's way too many of these that have been distributed. And there's way too many that have made it as PSA 10s. So it's going to be hard for this Pikachu to grow exponentially like anything in the past because there's just such a high supply for it. I could be wrong. The demand might catch up and it might surpass the supply available. And if that happens, this card could explode again. So, time will tell. But now is a pretty good time to buy it. But like the other two cards I showed you, when you buy first up, as soon as something's released and you get sucked into the hype, it's always going to come at a cost. And that's my third rule: avoid the hype. All right, so the fourth rule is always check your corners, your edges, your surface, and your centering. Now, there are other videos that have been made about this. I might make one in the future too. But basically, you're looking at the condition of the card. And the easiest thing to do is to make sure you look at the back of a card. And if you see any whitening around the perimeter of the card, generally that is a card that has had really bad, that's got really bad edges or really bad corners. And I'll show you what I mean. So here we have a base set Mewtwo. And what you can see is the card is battered. Firstly, the crease that goes right across the holo has made this card practically worthless. So if you've got cards in the attic or in the basement and they're rare, but they haven't been looked after and they're not in great condition, they're not going to be worth any money. They're not going to be worth much. It depends. Of course, there are always variables. You can't run a brush stroke through all cards that have ever been made. But generally, if, they've got this much damage to them, it's going to be hard to command much money. I want you to look at the back of the card, though. So the back of the card, if you look at the Pokemon logo in yellow, top and bottom, you'll see, besides the crease that goes through the card, around the perimeter of the card, there's all that whitening. That whitening means that the card's been heavily played. Condition is really important for Pokemon card buyers. So you got to check it. If you've got one and you want to sell it, you got to honestly assess the condition of that card before you try to sell it. There's nothing worse and more frowned upon in the Pokemon TCG community than someone who promotes a card in better condition than what it's actually in. This card is very damaged. I need to communicate that. I need to say, look, it is heavily played, it is damaged, it is creased. And then I'll leave it up to the Pokemon community who look at this card to determine how much they want to pay for it. I can't say this is in mint condition, or I can't say this is in good condition. It's not. And it's important to, on both sides of the sale, for the seller to be honest, for the buyer to be aware. When the buyer is aware of what they're buying, that is really important. The seller's also got to make sure they don't be misleading as well. One last thing, the centering. This now is out of control of the person who's got the card. It's the way it's been printed. And generally, the way we look at centering is, if you look at the border of this Mewtwo, for example, you can see from left to right, from top to bottom, the way that the print has been put on the cardboard. If that looks like it's perfectly in the center of that card, and that white and that yellow border is the same on both left and right sides and up and down, it's the same size, that's perfect centering. Same as the back with the blue border. The surface of the card, this is the best way I describe surface of the card. It literally needs to look like you just pulled it out of a packet for it to be worthy of getting a 10 grade. It literally needs to look like a brand new card. That's the surface. If you reflect it on a bit of light, it should be really clean without scratches on it. And lastly, make sure that you invest in card protection. Card protection is important. So for example, I've got here a CGC9 base set Gyarados, Shadowless, right? Now this card, if you look at the slab, I'm very intentional. It is very, very, very shiny. The slab looks good, right? The plastic protecting the card has been protected itself, because I bought plastic to protect the plastic that the card is in. So I bought plastic to protect the plastic that has the cardboard in it. And it's important to do that, because at the end of the day, if you are trying to sell this, you need to make sure it is in the best condition possible for the buyer. It'll help you get the most money for your return. And also, it gives the buyer the best experience, because they get to walk away with the best possible product that you could have given to them. So please look after your things. Make sure that you do that. To finish this video, to finalize it, please make sure you like and subscribe to my channel. So as we look at, this is that Pikachu, that V Max Pikachu. You look at that price there at 2,500 right up the top. It comes down so much, and right now we are looking, it's actually even going lower, 200 American dollars. So there is nothing more that I can say. Please, please, please make sure you are very careful with your money and the way you invest it, so you can get the most for your dollar. If you like the content to tonight's video, please like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. And in the comment section, write down any other tips that you've got, and I'd love to read them, because I'm always learning, and I feel like it's always good to always be learning and always have an open mind. Thanks everyone. Bye.